Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. This is Dr. T, PhD, the prodigy of sports psychology, and I'm so excited today because we're welcoming back one of our very favorite guests right here on today's show, Ms. Natalie Joel, Living Life with Nat. She'll be on here momentarily, and before we catch up with Natalie, I'd like to ask everyone out there if you please be so kind as to like this video, leave us a comment, and share it with all of your friends and family out there. As I mentioned, we've got Natalie here that we're about to give her a call on the line and bring her on today's show, bring her back to tell us how to live healthier and all the things that there is with keto and banting, losing weight, keeping in shape, and especially as we approach the holiday season right now. So I'm excited to always catch up with Natalie Joel as she tells us there's no better person that can do that than Natalie right here on GoTarryn TV. So don't go away, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Natalie Joel, Living Life with Nat. And remember, with GoTarryn Health and Fitness, it's your time, your investment, and your life.
Well, thanks. Bit chilly, but good. All good, thank you.
Yeah, that's right. So you are coming into a different season than us down here, right? We're just the opposite, aren't we? Mm-hmm. So you're entering into more warmer weather that you're looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you and seeing how everything is. And I understand that your in-laws, Malcolm and also Lynette, did they come and visit over there in South Africa?
Yes, saw them yesterday. Yes.
Oh, yesterday as we record this. Wow. So I guess that's my first question. Can you please tell me, how was that?
Oh, it was lovely to see them again.
Yeah.
Family's family, you just reconnect. It's just so special.
Yeah, because how long would you say it's been since you saw them? It was before the pandemic, I'm guessing, right?
It must be at least 3 years.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool.
And you just see them and it's like yesterday. It's amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah, because I think they might be returning back home this week, I believe, here.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, that's great. And where you're at right now in the background, I hear some birds chirping. It sounds real
yes.
lovely out there.
Oh, the birds in my garden it's incredible. Can you hear? I think we're going to have another storm and they off tweet extra much before a storm. We've had rain. It's the rainy season now, and we've had rain this morning, and now it's stopped for a few minutes. But it feels like it's going to rain again, and the birds are telling me that it's going to rain again.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's great. Well, here we are, towards the end of the year. I just can't believe, I feel like everyone keeps telling me how fast this year's flown by. So how does the rest of the year look like in terms of, any types of goals and objectives and things that, you need to get done before the end of the year?
I think goals aside, there's a feeling of relief and no burdens because we don't have that last 2 terrible years sitting on our heads.
Right.
It's been such a... Oh, those birds are... Now that you mention, I'm really hearing them now. It's been like it was in the olden days, if we can call it, from 2 years ago,
Yes.
Life just continued, and that's how it feels, that life is just, well, in Johannesburg at least. It's good,
Oh, that's excellent.
Summer's coming. Today it's very cold. As you can see, I'm wearing winter clothing. But it's been very hot recently, and the flowers are out. The blossoms are all out. The trees are out. My cucumbers, I planted cucumbers 2 weeks ago, and they're already starting to grow, and it's very exciting.
Very nice.
So it's good.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's terrific. Well, how have your exercise workout routines been going? What's been the latest on that?
I must tell you, I had a most terrible fall 6 weeks ago.
Oh,
I was
I'm
in a
sorry.
center.
Oh, no.
I can't believe. And I fell on my face. You might see a little mark. It was amazing. My chin, broke my ribs.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
And so I was told that I had to take things very, very carefully. So I haven't been able to swim or to do boxing or my dance class or any of those things. Just treadmill, bicycle, keeping straight. But it's almost, I can feel it's almost better.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Wow. I am so sorry. Wow. So something like that, when that happens, it just really takes a lot out of us. So did you have to, I guess, how long were you seeing the doctor and going to the hospital for all this?
Oh, I actually asked my doctor if it's necessary to see him. I told all my symptoms. Got a very straightforward, wonderful doctor who doesn't believe in seeing you at the drop of a hat. He's very straightforward. So he says no, he doesn't need to see me. But then I thought I might. It was so sore under my bust. It was. I didn't realize that the ribs were broken. So I went to see somebody and to try and manipulate it, and she said, the ribs are all broken. I actually had x-rays and it showed that they were all broken.
Oh, really? Oh, God.
So you just got to live through it.
Wow. So, I'm so sorry. Wow.
But the interesting thing is that within a week of my big scar here on I really went boom onto my face. The scars were gone. And I'm sure it's because I've got no inflammation, as you know, in my body. So there was nothing fighting the healing process.
Oh, thank God. Oh, wow. It sounds like it could have been so much worse. Sounds like you're so lucky. Yeah.
I am so.
Oh, gosh. Oh, Natalie, I am so I didn't know anything about that. So.
No, I haven't told you about the first person I've told.
Oh, wow.
I haven't told anybody. Oh.
Well, if you wouldn't have said anything, I wouldn't have noticed any, mark or bruise. So thank God. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's so scary. But yeah, you hear about stuff like that, and that could take a lot of people some time to recover. But I'm so happy that you're okay. And what about for the rest of the year? You mentioned this a few minutes ago about how people are kind of going back more outside, more socializing, it's going back to normal, so to speak. Do you see your routine kind of changing in any ways or getting out there more now that it looks like some restrictions are uplifted and such?
I think that most people are now. Look, you do still see people with masks. That's fine.
Same here. Yeah, here too.
But I think actually at the gym, it's getting busy again. You're driving out early in the morning. You see it. There are so many people walking, running. There's a marathon in Johannesburg yesterday. It's called the Soweto Marathon. I think there were 20,000 people.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, that's great. Eh? That's amazing.
Yeah, wow.
That it's back to what it was. It's wonderful. And, just seeing all the people in the streets running, walking, pushing prams and running, the earphones, which is actually quite dangerous because you can't hear a car coming. But it's just to me, after the 2 years of being not able to do anything, it's wonderful seeing life back to normal.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, you're right. It's just so nice. And here, the same thing, we're kind of getting back to that normal, like you mentioned, masks. And I don't know about the vaccines so much because it seems like now they keep adding more boosters. But have they been doing that there in terms of like adding no supplemental vaccines and stuff like that?
There might be, but I haven't heard about it.
Yeah. There's still kind of some debate or ongoing disagreements on that with, should they do it or not. But
what are you doing?
I'm same as you. I'm hearing that, but I really don't pay much attention to it personally because, growing up, I used to just get the flu vaccine. I thought that was just normal. You just do that typically. But I don't know. I guess when you hear about all these different supplemental boosters and follow-up vaccines that you want to do, there's a time I think where maybe a point where maybe too much. I don't know. I just feel like our natural immunity sometimes might benefit. Yeah. But I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I don't know if anybody really knows. Even the experts. Yeah. Just doesn't seem like the problem is. I think a lot of people keep saying there's not enough long-term research that they've been able to conduct yet on this. So, and I remember your colleague, Anthony Seagal, when I was talking to him about this, was that he had mentioned that who really knows with, the different types of, long-term studies. It'll be interesting 20 years from now to see when we look back and what we learn. But,
yeah.
Yeah, but what is consistent, of course, is eating right and living healthy and exercising. So with that, with the eating and the banting and keto, What's been the latest with what you do with your clients that you coach?
Just telling them I don't like people to be neurotic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, if you are so stressed about it,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to work, whatever you do. It has to be part of your life. It can't be a diet, because a diet is always guilt. Can I do this?
Good
Did
point.
I do that?
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed this? What if I do this? It's got to be part of your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that I was so excited. Last week, a client told me that she lost 1.25. She started on Tuesday, and on Friday she lost 1.25 kilos, more than she's lost the whole year of trying.
Oh, wow.
It's about 3.5, 4 pounds.
Yeah, that's great.
But it's water weight. But still,
Mm-hmm.
you know, she's following the way to do things, and so that was very exciting.
Oh, that is so good. So, what do you think it was for that client you just mentioned that she changed to where now she saw that result?
She was convinced that she was doing keto beforehand, and I said to her, I don't. People think that they know, but you don't know what you don't know. That's the bottom line, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So she started following what I told her to do, what I suggested she do. I don't tell, I suggest.
Mm-hmm.
And she obviously found it wasn't as terrible as she thought. And just by sticking to the guidelines, she found that her body was happy and was losing the weight.
Yeah. What are some of the kind of maybe misconceptions that people generally slip up or make a mistake about if they think they're doing keto, but not necessarily they might be not following it?
Well, I could hear something else that somebody sent me. I said, look at this, I found a low-carb wrap.
Uh-huh.
So I said, send the ingredients. You won't believe the ingredients. Wheat, gluten, soy, pea protein, certain oils that are not okay. But people see low carb, they think low carb means keto. But it's if you do proper keto, you do proper what is allowed and what's not allowed.
Right.
And she never even looked at the ingredients. She actually got a shock when she saw what the ingredients were.
Interesting.
So the thing is that people don't realize you have to look at the ingredients first and then see how many grams of carbs there are in whatever it is you're eating, because it doesn't help if it's full of wheat or grains or soy or corn, and it can be 1 gram of carb, but if your body we've got problems with that type of foods, then it's not going to help having that low carb. For most people.
Yeah, that's true, and I know that would definitely not work. You mentioned the first thing that you had mentioned was the wheat and the gluten, and the big problem. My wife, for example, has celiac disease.
Yes,
she was just diagnosed a few years ago with that. She can't have any gluten or any wheat. She can't even come in contact with it. So my question to you, Natalie, because that's kind of interesting, what is the prevalence of gluten and wheat there? Do you find, or for example, do people have celiac disease there? Is that as prevalent?
Whatever's there is,
Yeah. So how about the eating there? For example, are restaurants and stores gluten-free friendly and such, or what do you find?
I don't actually know, because I don't really eat out much.
Mm-hmm.
But from what people have told me, I haven't really heard that there are things. I know you can also find gluten in makeup.
That's a good point. Right, exactly. Everything, yes.
Creams. And one has to be so careful.
Exactly.
That you careful what you eat, but not what goes on your body. And then what's happening? Why am I getting reactions?
Exactly.
So gluten-free it's a big thing. And the problem is that many things are gluten-free, but they're not friendly to the body. They still cause metabolic syndrome, like rice. They say oats, you can get gluten-free oats, but you can still get severe reactions to oats.
Yes.
Even if it's gluten-free. And also, you might, so I've been told that people might think it's gluten-free, but the field next to you might be full of whatever, and things blow in the wind,
That's true, right, exactly.
So if your wife has got major issues, she should seriously have a look at the ketogenic way of eating, because people don't realize that it's not just the gluten, but there are the seed oils and other things that can irritate the body, that can cause inflammation and terrible pains.
No, you're right. I've heard that too, because there's so many things that, for example, here in our country, there's so many things that are synthetic and processed, and they use preservatives. And so here in the United States, one of the big problems was this pesticide called Roundup. Right, yeah, and what they're putting in the plants and what they're growing with meats and such, and you don't know, like we don't know, like the GMOs and all of the growth hormones and the synthetic processed things, and I think that's a big problem. I'll give you an example. I think you'll find this interesting. One of my clients, his wife also, I don't think she has celiac disease, but she's very intolerant to gluten and to wheat. They went to Italy for about a few weeks on their vacation. They had pastas there. No issue. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. There's no glyphosate.
That is really... So this wasn't stunning or surprising to you. To us, I was just like, what? How is that even possible? But they just... And the same thing, we were like blown away. We're like, how does that happen? Like, how can you go to like a different country and it's not the same? Like the pastas there, she had no problem with it at all. His wife was totally fine. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, because apparently some of the pesticides used in some countries are banned in Europe.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know about glyphosate. Was it glyphosate? I always get mixed up. But a lot of countries don't allow it.
Uh-huh.
And it's often not the food that's the problem, but it's what interacts with the food that's put together that causes the issues.
Interesting.
And so I've heard that the pasta in Italy does not affect people who got major gluten issues as much as it does in the rest of the world.
Wow, that is so amazing. It really scares me to think about. For like one of the fast food restaurants here that's very prevalent is McDonald's. It's probably the most popular one, and it's where my kids want me to take them all the time. And, speaking of Malcolm earlier, one of the things that he told me when they were here in the United States, I guess maybe whenever it was, raising his children, so you're going back maybe 20, 30 years ago, and they had said that we're never going to have McDonald's because I guess of how unhealthy it was and just the sugars, all of the refined starches and the processed, the fried way of eating it. And, I hate to pick on them, and I'm not just saying McDonald's, but just generally, you go out to, especially here in America, these fast food restaurants, it's almost impossible, I feel like, to eat any type of healthy eating or food when you go out on the road and travel. And that's why I think you mentioned about not really typically eating out much. I think that's probably the way to go, is to avoid eating as much as possible out, because we just don't know what they're putting to make it taste good or flavorful. Like how much are they putting in there that we don't know about in the kitchen?
Yeah, it's a major problem.
I'm just curious because, again, obviously I've never been out to where you're at, but as far as like the fast food restaurants go where you're at, is it the same? I'm guessing it is. I'm assuming. Are they pretty much unhealthy for the most part? As far as
I'm sure they have the same recipes throughout the world. They've got the franchise.
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken in your place?
Absolutely.
In America?
Yes.
So Kentucky, and I've never been to them, so I don't know what they're like. And McDonald's, and I think there's some others. Do you see queues of cars waiting to pick up their orders or put their orders in? But they obviously taste nice. Otherwise, people wouldn't keep going there.
Yeah,
but
it's true. Yeah. Well, and I'll admit, like, once in a while, if I take my kids there, obviously, I'm like, well, I guess I don't have a choice. And I'll order something. I'm like, oh, gosh, I could see why people get addicted to this stuff, because my kids love the French fries, and I'll just sit there and eat them with them. Like, oh gosh, like I feel so unhealthy eating these, but I can see why they taste so good, because it's just everything they cook it in, of course. But I just think that that's a big problem, and hopefully in the United States, the most recent statistic I saw for obesity, it's an epidemic here, but it's up to about 40% for all of Americans, 40% being obese. Not just overweight, obese in terms of the definition of being obese.
Yeah, you used the phrase just now, like an addiction, and the problem is that sugar is a harder addiction to break than
Yes.
cocaine, apparently.
Oh, I believe it.
So,
Absolutely.
so we are addicted to sugar, and the pasta and the noodles and the donuts and the breads, they all turn into sugar in our body, and our body craves it.
Mm-hmm.
So when one goes into an alternate way of eating, keto, Banting, low carb, paleo, your body goes, like when you stop alcohol, you stop drugs, your body goes into a free fall, and it goes through trauma because it's not getting its addiction.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same thing, and one has to learn how to, because there are coping mechanisms, there are ways to avoid it or to minimize it, but it's withdrawal symptoms. It's actual withdrawal symptoms because it is an addiction.
Wow. Oh, that's so powerful. And, you know, Natalie, I think this is interesting, too, maybe just switching gears for a second. I had recently submitted my manuscript of an article that I was writing about, try to address the obesity epidemic in the United States because it's a problem. What can we do to fix the problem? And so I had done a research study with my school in my doctoral studies and the continuing education, just interviewing basically different participants, asking them how do they stay motivated, what can they do to work out better and exercise and personal train and such with their personal trainer, their instructor. And I thought it was a well-written article. In fact, the article was received by another journal that published a component of it. So I just went on a different component. I said, I'm not going to publish the same article. I changed it up. I said, here's the second component. And I submitted to this one called the Journal of Sport and Exercise. And they're out of England in the United Kingdom. And they took several months reading my article. They sent it back. I just got it back 2 months later. It was rejected. They didn't accept it. And I thought this was really interesting. One of the main primary reasons that the reviewers, there were 2 reviewers, I think, and along with the head person who was accepting it, the editor-in-chief. And I thought I had to really sit back. And this is interesting coming from England. I was thinking, I was shocked. She said that it was very insensitive to think that obesity was a problem. She said, just because you think obesity is an issue, that doesn't mean that that's a negative or a bad thing for people. And she said, we don't know how you Americans, perceive and I'm kind of paraphrasing this. I could read you the email direct word for word. But the thing that just stunned me was like, wow, that they thought that I was being, insensitive and kind of not body shaming, so to speak. That's what they call it here in America. But pointing out that it's okay to be obese and that's not a problem. And again, I'm not trying to pick on or say that this is something that let's face it, here in America, they classify it as a disease. And so my thought, it is, yeah, so I was just thinking like, well, if we need to fix the disease, then that means it's a problem. And here is my solution to a problem. That was the primary main thing, that once they read that first part, they did not like. They said, we like the rest of your research. We thought it was pretty profound. But you have to change it because anybody that reads this article, we don't want them thinking that we think that obesity should be frowned upon. And so I didn't know what to say. I'm still digesting it. I haven't responded back. But it was rejected. There's no negotiating and going back. I'd have to write a completely different article. But I'm going to try to just go to a different journal and just see. But I don't know. What do you think about that when a journal as prestigious as that says that you shouldn't write on obesity thinking that it's a problem? I completely disagree with that. I was just curious to see what you think.
They could have been, what's the word? Not objective, but subjective. Mm-hmm. That when they saw obesity, they might have misread it by thinking you were saying you shouldn't be obese, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's my bell, too bad. Obesity, and not realize that you're saying that. I'm not saying that you're obese because you're a big fat pig. I'm saying you're obese, right. And let's see how we can help sort out issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, and I think and the other thing, Natalie, I didn't even tell you this. One of the other reviewers was saying, just because one has a high body composition, that doesn't necessarily mean they're unhealthy. And I was thinking, that's not even the point of my article. My article is writing, basically, for me, it's not subjective. It's black and white. Do we have a BMI over, body mass index over 25 or not? And with them saying, well, you're saying that if they have a BMI greater than 25 or if they're obese, that makes them unhealthy. To me, I'm just thinking, how relevant is their point? Like, why? It sounds like to me they're taking it as offensive. When, again, from me, my vantage point, it wasn't being offensive at all.
Maybe you should speak to them and ask them if they like the rest of your article. Then there could be a person who's reading it who's obese, and he's feeling it. It's targeting him directly.
That. In fact, I thought that.
Yeah,
I thought exactly that. I thought exactly that, Natalie. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you an interesting thing. Yesterday I was at a children's party, and a very person who needs to lose weight, let's put it that way, everyone can lose, he was talking to me, and I said to him, I've told him I've lost 60 kilos. I showed him a photo of how I used to look. He couldn't believe that. And I told him my husband doesn't have diabetes anymore, that he's lost about 80-something pounds. I've lost over 100 pounds. And he started telling me what he was doing. And he said, it's so nice to be able to talk to somebody who's been through it. Because when people talk to him who've never had a weight issue, they look at him and say, why don't you just eat less? Why don't you just exercise more? They've got no understanding. He said, I'm looking at those pizzas. I could take that whole box and just devour the whole thing. And a person who's regular weight, who doesn't have this urge, this craving, they have got no understanding how people, like how I was, how other people are. They don't understand this addiction. It's an actual addiction.
Sure, yeah.
And I thought, shame, this guy's obviously been with people who've actually fat-shamed him because they didn't understand that he's trying. And if you've got a certain metabolic way of your body processing foods, you're going to have issues. And a lot of people don't understand it. So with those people who got that article, they might not understand the objectivity that you were presenting to help people. They might, or their family might, or they might know somebody who is obese, and they feel this guy is attacking me, So it could be, it could be that. So maybe it would, if you really want to print in that article in magazine, maybe it's an idea to get to them and say, I'm sorry I upset you. How would you suggest I fix it? Why throw it away just because you got upset now?
That's a good point. Natalie, if you had sent that article in, and if you wrote as a cover letter and showed him a picture of yourself and said, this is me before, this is me now, and by the way, I've lost over 60 kilos, and I'll bet, I don't know, I'm just wondering if they would have rejected that article. Maybe they wouldn't have, because in that case, if they would have seen that you yourself, right, exactly.
A picture of how I was.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe when they saw that and they saw that it was coming from me, they might have thought and that exact thing, that I wasn't being sensitive and couldn't relate to them. And you're right, that could very well be it. I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, so I'm just going to show.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Grab it and hold it up to the screen, because for those people who are first meeting Natalie here, it is impressive, like she mentioned, not only her, but her husband as well. Yes, we could see that before picture there of Natalie.
And it's me now.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, what a testament to both you and your husband for being able to do this, because together you have both lost, if I'm not mistaken, close to 100 kilos together, almost, roughly. That's amazing.
So this was us.
Oh my goodness, look at that. That's not even the same. And you look like you're about 10, 15 years younger in the second photo on the bottom. And that's just incredible. That's just amazing.
That picture, I'm turning 66 the next couple of weeks.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
And it was me about
look at that. Wow.
12 years ago.
12 years ago. Oh my goodness. Wow.
So
well, again, if people think that it can't be done, all they have to do is just look at you and refer to you and talk to you and how you did it. So that's just impressive, Natalie. I can't say enough how much we're just so impressed by that. But wow, it's been so great catching up with you. And before we let you go, please go ahead and let's tell everyone out there how they can reach you directly, how they can message you, contact you, find out more about you, join one of your groups. Let's go ahead and get that information, please.
Yes, I'd love to help other people. It's been 7.5 years now since I've been doing keto, and it's the only sustainable way of eating that have been health providing for my husband and for me, and we would never go back to the previous way of eating ever. Not even, the addiction's gone. I'm no longer tempted. I can look at things. I don't feel anything. At this party yesterday, I had no desire to eat the pizza, the popcorn, the cake. And 10 years ago, I would have been like a monster, you know. But it doesn't affect me anymore. So if anybody's interested in learning the way, I am a keto coach. You can contact me on Natalie at my emails, my mind has gone blank. On my Facebook group, Natalie Joel, or Living Keto with Nat. And I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Yes, that's great. We'll put that on the screen, Natalie, when we fade to black here. But again, I can't thank you enough. This has truly been a pleasure as always, and always flies by so quickly with you. And let's please get you back on here next month as we close out the rest of the year, and we'll get one of these interviews for December. And again, just keep doing the great, amazing work you're doing, and just keep it up. Thank you so much, Natalie. Too. It was a pleasure, and again, here comes your contact information as we fade to black, and we'll see you soon.